my name is Kave. I'm originally from the DRC, but I moved to Germany about 8 years ago. My background is in talent acquisition, employer branding, and diversity and inclusion. And I have a big passion for building communities. And of course, BlackInTechBerlin is one of the communities that I'm really proud of founding. The reason why I founded BlackInTechBerlin was really to create a space where people who identify as Black or have some Black or heritage or African heritage can really come together, share their histories, opportunities, challenges, but actually just being in the space where they feel safe. And I'm excited today to share with you some of the stories of our community members. So I hope you'll enjoy.
Hi, I'm Ikuya. I'm from Ghana. I've been living in Berlin for the past 3 years, and before that also for 4 years.
Hi, I'm Anklin. I'm from Nigeria and I've been living in Berlin for 3 years.
Hi, I'm Tevin. I've been living in Berlin for about 3 years. I'm from Kenya, Nairobi, born and raised. Moved to Berlin about 3 years ago, but I've lived around a few other places, and I love it here.
Hi, I'm Abina. I'm from the UK, but I'm now based in Berlin. I've been living here for 4 years.
I'm a software engineer. I'm currently transitioning, but in the past I've worked for Candice, which is a fintech, and also for Bayer, which is a pharmaceutical company.
I am an engineering manager at Doctolib, and we build software for healthcare professionals and patients to have a better healthcare system in Europe.
I'm a content designer and I work at Gorillas, which is a quick commerce company here in Berlin.
So I'm an online business English teacher. I work freelance for a variety of different companies, and I teach students from all over the world. A lot of them work for tech companies like Google and Amazon as well.
I think what I enjoy the most about my work is the people that I work with. In my position, I think it's important to be able to build the careers of other people, and it's lovely to see people like grow and flourish in what they're doing.
What I enjoy about teaching English online is I'm a very helpful person. I like to help people develop. So one of the things that's really special to me is the relationship that I have with my students. I find out what they need and basically give it to them as well. Many of my students I've had for like more than 5 years as well. So I know everything about them and their jobs.
What I enjoy most about being a software engineer is just solving everyday problems in an innovative way and making things a bit more streamlined and a bit more time saving. So almost everything that we use software to do, we could do it in the past as well. But software is making it be more accessible and more faster, and it's just the idea that you're solving people's everyday problems. It just brings me joy.
As a content designer, I really enjoy that I wake up every day and solve people's problems through technology. I mean, it's something very rewarding and motivating that I get to go to work every day to, brainstorm and do discovery sessions and understand the problems of my user and, take steps to solve this problem. So this is something that I'm very passionate about, problem solving and, empathizing with other people and, bringing solutions to problems, not just with regards to interfaces, but then psychologically and how people, interact with products and with other people as well.
So I had my bachelor's degree in geological engineering. I worked in Ghana as a geologist for quite some time. And then due to family reasons, I had to relocate to Germany. So I decided that I had to look for something that was more relevant to the market here. And at the time, I saw that software engineering was something that was really needed in the market. Actually, before I did my bachelor's, I had 2 things I wanted to do, and software engineering was one of them. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to follow my dream.
Yeah, my background is in social innovation and events. I had my master's degree in event management, and then I transitioned into product design, and then later transitioned into content design last year.
So my background is actually in journalism, but I started teaching when I did a TEFL in Thailand, When I left Thailand, my students wanted me to continue teaching them. So that's when I started teaching on Skype and was able to build my business to what it is today.
Why Berlin? So when I started off, I lived with my family in Hamburg. And anytime I tried to do anything, I was always told I had to have C1 German. And I had a B2 certificate and I could speak quite fluent German. And I thought investing in getting C1 German was not my goal because I was not interested in doing anything. So I don't think I needed German to be able to code or to do software development, because a lot of people, even Germans, worked in companies that they were 100% using English. So I tried all I could to get a boot camp in Hamburg, but they always asked me to bring C1 German. And I thought this was not what I wanted to spend my time on. And then I saw that there were boot camps in Berlin, which were 100% English. And that's why I first of all just came to Berlin for the boot camp while I still lived in Hamburg. But also when I started to try to just connect with people on LinkedIn, just look for people who were doing what I wanted to do and get connected and find mentors. Everybody I tried to write to in Hamburg was not really responding positively. But in Berlin, everybody was so excited, telling me what I could do, giving me tips, even taking time to have meetings with me online and all that. And then I thought, like, this is where I have to be.
I came originally to Berlin to work on an education startup, but that did not work out, and I wanted to still stay in Berlin because I like the city. And Dr. Lib was a very interesting opportunity for me, and I ended up there.
So yeah, I really like Berlin because it's very diverse. And of course, if you're someone who is passionate about something, once you come to Berlin, there's a whole community of people who are passionate about the same thing and are waiting to receive you in open arms. Also, Berlin is very green. So as fast-paced as it is, you can slow it down by grabbing a seat by the Spree or just chilling in the park, which is something I truly appreciate.
I didn't actually choose Berlin. Berlin is on the digital nomad route, if you like. So I was a digital nomad for quite a few years, and many digital nomads like to base themselves in different countries in Asia during the winter, and then in different countries in Europe during the summer. And Germany was definitely a pull for me. Berlin being very innovative and an inventive place was attractive.
Berlin's a very vibrant city, and that's what I enjoy most about working here. I think it's one of those cities that allows you to be whoever you are, whenever you are, whatever you are. And I think that that's a big part of the culture of this city, and that's why I like it quite a lot.
What I enjoy most about working in Berlin is just the diversity. You can meet people from every walk of life, from every nationality, all over the world. For me, that's just amazing.
I love Berlin because it's a very inventive place. I remember a few summers ago, I was doing yoga, watching some people making a boat by the river, and then they finished making their boat and started sailing their boat. And for me, that is the epitome of Berlin, this freedom to create and, make whatever you want and make life your own.
Okay, I would say the most challenging part of my work as a content designer is having to receive and process a ton of feedbacks, because being a content designer means you have to work with product designers, researchers, product managers, and in some cases even stakeholders. So you have to receive feedback, sometimes on one specific button or one specific piece of text. So being able to take in all of this feedback and process them and then filter out the unhelpful bits, for me, is very demanding, because you have to be a very thorough person, a very thorough thinker to be able to do those things. And I would say my background as a product designer as well has helped me to scale through these challenges. And I think I have a very robust knowledge of design in general, and this helps me to take decisions in my work.
The most challenging part of my work is the fact that I come in after several years of having experience in other fields, and I have to compete with people who have done this their whole lives, or also being a mother. And at this time of life, you're not as fast as you were when you were younger. So the time in my life that I jump onto this into this industry, they all make it challenging. Just balancing the work and life is really challenging for me.
The most challenging part about my work is the fights, I think. When you have to kind of foster people and nourish people, that also means fighting for them. And sometimes that can also be a bit emotionally draining, especially as a person of color.
I would say some challenges I face with teaching online can be the infrastructure, being able to connect, Wi-Fi being strong enough and things like that. In the past, before Corona, encouraging people to actually go online, and not do the class in person was a bit of a challenge, but now we've had Corona, it's actually normalized the whole thing and has actually boosted business for a lot of online companies.
When I walk on the streets of Berlin, I don't feel like the minority. But of course, for software engineering, even for German women, it's a place where you don't find someone like you. So I do feel very much like the minority in the places I work. That what makes it most challenging is in software engineering, you end up most of the time being with people who are all the same, all men, all a certain age group, most of the time also all German, all Caucasian men. And so they have no idea what you walk through in life. People don't understand what it means to be a mother doing the same thing, or what it means to be someone who, for instance, didn't grow up always having a laptop or having a smartphone or something like that, because I'm not the generation that grew up with it. So so just even being a bit slower than them in typing or other things like that, you always feel the pressure to perform and to be like people who had a little bit of a head start.
To be a minority in my position in Berlin is a bit of a privilege. I think that not many people have this opportunity, and also I think being a representative of people, being someone who can be looked up to the same way that when I was young, I could look up to people who are in the same position that I'm in right now, is definitely a privilege.
So I work online from home, so I'm not in an office interacting with people in person, so I don't really feel like a minority, if you like. I would say though, like some people are more curious about my race and where I come from and why I'm here.
Well, in my case, I would say that it's quite convenient being a minority in Berlin and in my work, because most of my colleagues and most of the people that I see every day and interact with every day are also from different minority groups. For example, at my work, I think there are more than 60% of people from other countries and different minority groups. So, of course, this is relative, but it's quite convenient for me. And also my company also kind of implements a lot of programs and activities that kind of promotes diversity and inclusion. So it makes things a lot easier.
I would like to change the tech scene in Berlin by democratizing technology. I think that especially for underrepresented groups, especially by the BIPOC community, there is a lot of gatekeeping that exists. And the more democratized technology can be, the more access people have, the bigger the community can grow.
I suppose the one thing I would like to change is non-tech companies being more confident. I'd like to see them be more confident to go online and use the technology that's out there, because it's amazing how people are connecting with the technology around us. And I feel like, there are some non-tech companies or people who are a bit hesitant to use technology are missing out on this whole amazing new direction the world is going in.
One thing I'd like to change about the tech scene in Berlin would be the recruitment process. So I find that a lot of companies do not have a standard way of recruiting people into tech roles. A lot of time there are multiple processes, and at the end of the day, recruiters can just ghost you and just not contact you again. I feel like that is very unprofessional. So I feel like there should be some infusion of professionalism in the recruitment process, and also some sort of honesty, and just say things that the company is not capable of, and maybe just lie in the job adverts. And then when you get into the recruitment process, you start to find out the truth, and this is not fair, and this is not nice.
Having communities like BlackInTechBerlin, I think, is very significant for people like me. Immediately I got to Berlin, I got the privilege to find out about it, and it has made my journey much easier than it would have been. First of all, I saw that there were people like me doing what I want to do. I got encouragement. There were times where I would take my CV somewhere and someone said, "Oh, I already saw your CV from Kavi." And it's because I had this community. It has been tremendously helpful. And I think everyone who feels in any way like a minority, it might not be Black in Tech, but if there's any group that is catering to your group, your tiny group of people, make it an effort to join.
Communities like BlackInTechBerlin are essential for me. I work online, from home, doing video calls all day. So I'm alone most of the day. So being able to go out and join a community, talk about the things that have happened during my day, the problems that I've had, and bouncing ideas around with people is just a lifeline.
The significance of having a close-knit community of underrepresented communities, especially BIPOC communities in Berlin and in Europe, is that we are minorities at the end of the day. And I think that the representation is really critical for us to be able to, kind of harness each other's energy and be able to build each other up in a way that makes sense to, again, democratize technology as it is right now.
All right, for me, it's important to have a community like Black in Tech in Berlin, because of course being a part of any community at all is a source of inspiration, and it's a place where you can get support and share knowledge. In the case of Black in Tech in Berlin, I feel like it brings together Black professionals and into one community that we can then support each other and share knowledge, share resources, and where we can definitely draw inspiration from, interact with other people, grow, learn new things. In the area of supporting each other, I want to say that in the recent events that has happened in Berlin, in the tech industry with the whole layoff situation and the economic situation right now, I think Black in Tech in Berlin can be a very good community for people of color that have been affected to, always fall back to and know that this is a community that has my back. Whatever has happened in my company, I know that if I come back to this community, I can get help, I can get support, and I can get inspiration.
I suppose the best piece of advice that I would give to anybody in online education is to really know your students. It's so important to have a very clear idea of not only their needs in their job and their lives, but also who they are. Because people learn in different ways, and learning absolutely has to be enjoyable for them to stay with you and also to progress. So knowing the things that they enjoy and incorporating those things into their classes as well is essential. Also being able to use all of the technology around you to create a seamless class that they can get a lot out of, not just staring in front of the computer as well. Movement is also important. So just because you're online does not mean that you can't create a classroom atmosphere.
For people who would like to go into tech or into software engineering, not coming from a CS degree background, I would say you should be willing to take the risk and prepare your mind for it, prepare mentally for it, that it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be rewarding. And don't be too hard on yourself in the beginning. Take small steps, your baby steps, and gradually you'll get to where you want to be.
Well, for someone who wants to get into content design, I would say you need to be someone who is very curious. You need to be a logical thinker. But aside from this, on a very high level, you need to, have a robust knowledge of design concepts. You need to know how to use at least one or two design tools like Figma or Sketch or something like that. You need to be very curious. You need to know how to collaborate, because in content design, cross-functional collaboration is key. As I already mentioned earlier, I'm interfacing with designers, researchers, product managers, stakeholders. And if you're someone who likes to work alone, maybe this role will not be really for you, because you have to really interface with people. You have to be ready to collaborate on every level of the process.
The advice that I would give is that just start, just try, keep doing it, be empathetic. You might slip and fall, but just start. It's not as hard as people make it out to be.
I'm a really community-minded person, and so I have a vision where people can get together in a way where they're working and living together in a kind of community workspace. At the moment, what we're seeing in Berlin are rents going up through the roof and things like that, and people really having problems finding places to live. I think now that a lot of people are in the office, we have all of this space from offices that are not being used to like really come together and think of a different way of community. Our community can be based on, you know, our shared interests, our shared work, and also it can become family.
My dream for communities like this is that we can create more avenues for more engagement, maybe something more structured where we can meet regularly or every once in a while. I mean, I really like the fact that Black in Tech in Berlin is organizing this watch party for Black Panther this coming Sunday. And I think more activities like that will encourage more Black people who are working in tech to, you know, find out what's really going on in this community and be encouraged to join in.
I would like to see communities like BlackInTechBerlin make sure that education is a big part of technology. The more people have access to having the option to come into the tech scene in Berlin, in Europe, the more people are sending resumes and applying, and the more represented we can be in this community. And that's a big part of what BlackInTechBerlin is doing.
My dream is that Black in Tech and other communities like this will become more visible, that they can't be ignored, that companies would love to have some connection with these communities. And through that, we can be able to help people coming in as minority to even make bigger strides than we did.
Hi, I'm Tevin.
I'm Abina.
I'm Akuya,
I'm Anklin, and we are
Black in Tech
Berlin.